Chapter 12 of Buddhist Writings. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. This reading by Carl Manchester, 2008. Buddhist Writings. Translated by Henry Clark Warren. Chapter 12. Good and Bad Karma. Translated from the Samyutta Nikaya. Book 3, Volume 2, Verse 10. Thus I have heard. On a certain occasion the Blessed One was dwelling at Savatthi in Jetavana Monastery in Anathapindika's park. Then drew near King Pasenadi the Kosalan at an unusual time of day to where the Blessed One was, and having drawn near and greeted the Blessed One, he sat down respectfully at one side. And King Pasenadi the Kosalan, being seated respectfully at one side, the Blessed One spoke to him as follows. Pray, whence have you come, great King, at this unusual time of day? Reverend Sir, a householder who was treasurer in Savatthi has just died, leaving no son, and I have come from transferring his property to my royal palace. And, Reverend Sir, he had 10 million pieces of gold and silver beyond all reckoning. But this householder, Reverend Sir, would eat sour gruel and kanajaka, and the clothes he wore were made of hemp, and the conveyance in which he rode was a broken-down chariot with an umbrella of leaves. Even so, great King, even so, great King. Formerly, great King, that householder and treasurer gave food in alms to a private Buddha named Tagarasikhi. But after he had given the order, saying, "Give food to this monk," and had risen from his seat and departed, he repented him of the gift, and said to himself, "It would have been better if my slaves or my servants had had this food." And, moreover, he murdered his brother's only son for the sake of the inheritance. Now, whereas, great King, that householder and treasurer gave food in alms to the private Buddha Tagarasikhi, as the fruit of this deed he was born 7 times in a higher state of existence, into a heavenly world, and as a further result of this deed he has held the treasurership 7 times here in Savatthi. And whereas, great King, that householder and treasurer repented him of the gift, and said to himself, "It would have been better if my slaves or my servants had had this food," as the result of this sinful thought his mind has been averse to sumptuous food, to sumptuous clothing, to sumptuous equipages, to a sumptuous gratification of the 5 senses. And whereas, great King, the treasurer murdered his brother's only son for the sake of the inheritance, as a result of this deed he has suffered in hell for many years, for many hundreds of years, for many thousands of years, for many hundreds of years. And as a further result of this deed he has now for the 7th time died without leaving any son, and forfeited his property into the royal treasury. But now, great King, the former merit of this treasurer has become exhausted, and no new merit has been accumulated, and at the present time, great King, the treasurer is suffering in the Mahararuva hell. Reverend Sir, has the treasurer been reborn in the Mahararuva hell? Yes, great King, the treasurer has been reborn in the Mahararuva hell. Nor grain, nor wealth, nor store of gold and silver, not one amongst his womenfolk and children, nor slave, domestic, hired man, nor any one that eats his bread, can follow him who leaves this life, but all things must be left behind. But every deed a man performs, with body or with voice or mind, 'tis this that he can call his own, this with him take as he goes hence. This is what follows after him, and like a shadow ne'er departs. Let all then noble deeds perform, a treasure store for future weal, for merit gained this life within will yield a blessing in the next. End of chapter 12.